Welcome to the Veterans Growing America podcast. I am Coach R.L. Simmons. I'm here with my illustrious co-host, Donnell Johns, and we have another special guest for you today. We have Miss Michelle Watson. She is a active duty Air Force. Air Force. I love it. She is also entrepreneur. She is an author, and she is the founder of Ingenuity Gourmet Tea and Spice Company. Welcome to the show, young lady. How are you doing?
Thank you. Thank you. Welcome to my queendom, also known as my kitchen, where all the magic happens with my organic teas. But thank you, Donnell. Thank you, Coach, for having me on. I truly appreciate it.
Michelle, I know you, but my audience doesn't know you. Can you tell us a little bit about your military experience and background?
Absolutely. So, as Coach said, I am Michelle Watson. I'm still active duty, United States Air Force, going on well over 2 decades. I know I don't look it. It's the tea that's keeping me looking. But I'm here in the Northern Virginia area and thoroughly enjoying my time here. Thank you.
So, can you tell us a little bit about how your military experience influenced your journey into entrepreneurship?
My business is organic teas, so maybe you don't see a parallel there between the military and organic teas, but actually being in the Air Force has really heightened my hobby, which was tea, into becoming what I am segueing into, which is tea as a full-time business. And so fortunately, I've been blessed to have traveled the world, but specifically when I was assigned to Asia, Japan, my love for tea really took off. I think in the US, we're very familiar with black tea and green tea, but when you get to the tea meccas of the world, like Asia, like Japan, I had the opportunity to go to Thailand as well. That opens up the full throttle of everything that the tea has to offer. So that's when I came in contact with white teas and oolongs and pu'ers. And if these teas don't sound familiar to you, that's okay. It didn't sound familiar to me, and I'm a tea enthusiast. But I was able to take all that I learned and all that I harnessed and launch my business in 2023. So I'm very grateful to the military, one, for just giving me the opportunity to travel the world, but also for having the discipline, if you will, and stick-to-itiveness to bring my two-dimensional tea company into what it is now.
Oh, I love that. So let's take a step back, right? I want to know about, was entrepreneurship in your blood, or is it just something that happened? What inspired you to start your own business?
Yes, I would say it's in my blood. I would assume it's from my maternal great grandmother and a couple of her daughters who were entrepreneurs, though I think no one used that word. They were just like, that's my side hustle. And so even when I was a kid in elementary school, I received candy maybe from my bigger brothers, from my mom, and I would take it the next day at school and sell it for a profit because it's in my blood. But really, my maternal great grandmother, she was born on the island of Grenada. And at the
Mm,
time, Grenada was a British crown colony. So we're talking the 1800s. And so she grew up as an English girl, if you will, drinking English tea. And then roughly about the age of 25, so maybe 1907, she actually emigrated to the Republic of Panama. And what she knew was her teas, and she was doing her little tea business and some other things, to include being a domestic. And so her tea was truly organic. So she was growing ginger in her backyard. You cut the ginger, you bring it with you, add hot water, you have ginger tea. She was growing mint in the backyard. You cut the mint, you bring it with you, you add hot water, you have mint tea. And so, though over the years my family didn't really stay in the tea business per se, our home in Panama was the tea house. And if you know anything about Panama, like any other part of the Caribbean and Central America, the land is really fertile for growing sugarcane, which means Panama has great rum. And the acidity level of the soil is such that in Panama, they also grow coffee. Not really tea, but our house was the tea home. And that filtered down to her daughter, who's my grandmother, to her daughter, who's my mother, to me. And I've always grown up drinking tea.
That is amazing. The legacy in that. I love that you kept it going.
Yeah, that's that now that really does a good segue into what I want to know. I want to know all about the tea. So tell us about your business and the unique proposition of that business.
Yeah, so at Ingenuity, we really provide organically grown, naturally blended premium teas that help foster a healthier lifestyle while also giving you focus and a natural energy boost. What do I mean about that? There's two types of tea. You have what's known as traditional tea, we call it organic, and commodity tea. Commodity tea is what you find in your everyday run-of-the-mill tea bags. So were you to cut it open, the tea almost looks like pepper grain. That's commodity tea. And what happens is, first, let me just say that all true teas come from the same plant, the camellia sinensis. All teas, whether it's black, white, green, oolong, they all come from the same plant. The difference is how the farmers then treat that crop as it's growing. And so in commodity teas, what they do is they hire these tea harvesters, which are like, they look like big tractor trailers, and they just come across and they just schwack everything off the stalk of the tree plant. And obviously you're going to get the tea leaves, which have sprouted, but also because it's heavy machinery, you're getting some of the stalk. And so
Mm,
they take all that, they put it in a grinder and grind it down. So that's why your tea and tea bags look like pepper grains. Definitely you're getting some tea in there, but you're also getting some other stuff. So in the tea industry, that's actually called tea fannings. And so that's why you can go into big box stores and get, I don't know, 180 tea bags for $4, $5, because you're getting very low grade tea. The other type of tea you can have is traditional tea, or what we know as organic tea. So again, the same tea field, the same stalk, the tea leaves have sprouted, but when you have a traditional organic tea farmers, what they do is they hire tea pluckers. So if you've ever seen the photo with the baskets on their heads or the baskets on their back, and they're literally going around and plucking off the best and the most mature of the tea leaves and putting them in the basket. And no fertilizers are used when you're hiring tea pluckers and you're growing traditional organic tea. You're really going for the taste and the quality as opposed to the quantity. So your organic tea farms tend to be smaller, whereas your commodity tea farms tend to be hectares and hectares, and they're using pesticides because they need uniform taste and they need the tea to grow fast so that they can bring that harvester in there and strip it out. And so what I have in line with my great grandmother, again, as I said, she was just growing plants in her backyard and adding hot water. So I've chosen to go into the organic tea business because as a tea enthusiast, I'm really all about the quality, all about the taste, and all about the health benefits. And that bush, the Camellia sinensis, in its natural state, has so many health benefits, right? It can help battle cancer, it can help battle fibroids, type 2 diabetes. It has so many health benefits as long as you don't cover it in pesticides.
mm. Wow, you make that sound so good. I'm glad I have some of your tea downstairs.
There you
She put
go.
me on game. She put me on game.
So let me ask you this. Entrepreneurship, when people see it up front, they think it's crumpets.
No pun intended.
Yeah, but at the same time, what are some of the challenges that you faced in entrepreneurship and then also being an entrepreneur while currently serving?
Yeah, so I'll tell you, I thought having, because my tea company is 100% online. And I thought, at least in the initial stages, my costs would be so much lower because I don't have brick and mortar costs, right? The insurance that goes with brick and mortar, the either the mortgage or the rent or the lease, all that good stuff, paying the employees. But even to be an online store, just know it's coming with some significant costs. Now, I can't give you a dollar figure and I can't say save $60,000 and then you're ready to launch, whatever it is, whether it's a commodity business or whether it's a service business. I can't tell you what that dollar figure is. All I can tell you is launch, right? All I can tell you is launch. If you wait for the right amount of money, you're never going to launch because something's going to come up. But that's one thing that did catch me a bit surprised, if you will, just the cost to even have an online business, because you have to think about it. it's still a store, even though it's an online store, right? You got to not only build that website, but maintain that website. You still have to answer the customers, right? You still have to fill inventory, which means you have to have that inventory somewhere, whether it's at your house, in your garage, or at a drop shipper, something, there's some leg of logistics there. So there are costs, but I can't give you a dollar figure, and I can't tell you to wait for the perfect amount of money, the right amount of money. Just start where you are and continue to grow. In the beginning, you don't have to be all things to all people. Launch and then continue to grow.
No, you hit some gems in that one. And us being a brick and mortar, you face all kind of challenges, but the average cost to opening up a brick and mortar, just opening the doors, is $50,000 to $100,000. And having an online store doesn't cost you that much, but the biggest challenge, especially when a product you have to taste, is they have to taste it. And so you can't taste it online, so you do have to find a place where you can sell it
Mhm.
and
And
then
also,
draw people to it.
yeah, you also asked me the challenge of being still serving
Hmm.
and trying to be an entrepreneur. Another cost. So I can't handle my own social media, right? Because
Hmm.
social media is happening 24/7. A good 9 to 10 hours of those, I'm locked in a building somewhere, right? And so I have to actually work with an agency who handles my social media. When I come home in the evening, I'm logging on and I'm getting to things in the evening, which means that other members of my team, they're not necessarily online at those hours, nor do I expect them to be. So I'm sending emails for them to get to the next day. So it's a lot, right? But again, particularly if you have a military background, whether you did 4 years, 24 years, if you particularly that discipline, because you got up at 4 o'clock in the morning to be ready for physical training. You were in the book studying so you can make your next rank. You went TDY at times that were inopportune for you and your family. Like you did things and you're doing things, and you're going to put that same stick to itiveness, that same slow down. What's the mission here? Can't do all things, but what's this mission set right here? That's what you're going to put into your business as well.
I love that. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
Indeed. I had one of my mentors, a young lady that I work with, and she says that, to your point of just start your business, she says it gets a little weird because once you start your business, it's like you're building an airplane while it's in flight.
Hmm.
It's and you're also the pilot. And so
True.
that definitely resonates with how it is. But at the end of the day, there is no perfect time to get started. You just have to just dive in and figure it out as you're going. And there's really no book or rule book of how to operate your business. And no matter how many master's degrees or business degrees you got, you're always going to run into some of those challenges. So thank you for sharing that. I wanted to ask you, based on your military experience, what are some key lessons that you took away from the military that you added into your business?
Yeah, I think one is Air Force. Thank you. Hold down your applause. Hold down your applause, gentlemen.
I'm gonna be
But we
nice. The camera's on.
but in the Air Force, we say flexibility is the key to air power. And I've never had to flex so much in my life than over these last 3 years. One, just to launch the business, and two, to sustain and grow the business. And so I will say that people with whom I launched the business are not part of my team right now, not all of them, because there are some that can get you to a point, and that's what they can do, right? That's their capabilities. They hit their mission set, and then you gotta reach out to who can take you to the next level. So some people who were able to help me launch were not also members of the same team that could help me grow. And so I think being flexible. Also, the business ingenuity is my baby, right? It's my dream, it's my idea. And so when you're working with outsiders, if you will, you have to tamp down your ego, right? You have to tamp down your ego because there are people out there, believe it or not, who are smarter than you, right? They may not know tea inside and out like I do, but They know e-commerce better than I do. They know business strategy better than I do. They know social media better than I do. And so you have to tamp down your ego as an entrepreneur and take in outside professionalism. And one thing I will say, I started off talking about the costs, but one thing I will say is pay for your weakness. Pay for your weakness. Hire the person, the people who can do what you either cannot do because it's not your expertise, or that you do not have the time to do. But that is so very vital for getting your business to the next step. Pay for your weakness.
You know what? I'm putting that on a t-shirt.
Yeah, yeah. I was about to say, I'm gonna put that on a hoodie.
Yeah, yeah. Pay for your weakness. And it's gonna be on a TEA shirt.
Here we
Yeah,
go.
good though. That's good. Very true.
I want to know, you've been with us for a while, right? And I just want to know about your experience with VGA and all of that great stuff. And tell our audience about that.
Yeah, so I can tell you, as I said, my business is 100% online, but I love tea. I love to talk about the health benefits of the tea. I love people to sample and drink my teas and just talk to me about what teas I would necessarily recommend for this or for that. And to get that, I do it at VGA. I get that in-person contact with the customer. Also, it's just a beautiful space, right? It's a great location, but it's a beautiful space. Everyone in there is military affiliated. So whether they too are still serving, maybe they're veterans, maybe they're the spouses of a veteran, but everyone in there is yay, rah, rah, cheering you on. So if the person next to me gets a sale, but I don't get a sale, we're all clapping because we brought folks in from off the street who got a chance to see what veterans can do. And we're not, how shall I say, it's not all about Veterans Hospital or a wounded warrior event. Like, we're all things, and we're in all parts of the community, to include your small businesses. So VGA, thank you.
No, thank you. And thank you for all that you do. You have been a spokesperson for our community. You have been a person that people can go to see, how do I get packaging? How's my product supposed to look? How, the quality of your packaging and the stuff that you do and the level of detail that you put into your product. You're a huge example for those that are starting businesses. I remember one day someone came in and they saw your product and the product of the people that were in VGA, and it was like, I'm not ready yet. And I said, you don't need to be ready. We will get you ready.
Yeah.
Nobody walks in here ready.
Mhm.
We just, as a community, we make sure that everybody looks good. And so thank you
Yeah.
for helping us look good inside and outside of VGA.
No, and truly, I really do thank you, because as part of the introduction where it said I was an author. So last November, I published my first book, Tea and the Black Woman: How Natural Teas Can Benefit Black Women's Health. And I published that maybe like a week before Thanksgiving. So it's the holiday seasons. People's attentions and minds were here, there, and everywhere, not necessarily on this little Air Force Airman's book. But within 2 months, so January, VGA was able to host my in-person book signing. A book signing for me? What following do I have? But sure enough, Donnell opened up VGA and they hosted my in-person book signing, which was chef's kiss, by the way.
You know what the cool part about that is, you've created an opportunity that we now do is we got two book signings this month, and yours was the second one that we did. And so now we're doing two more, and you helped us build the blueprint for that. So thank you.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, thank you. And I'll definitely praise VGA from here to the West Coast.
Hey, Michelle, we definitely want to thank you for coming on and sharing so much knowledge with us for sure. I'm definitely going to reach out because I got some tea questions. But before we get out of here, do you have any final words for the listeners today?
And you just led me into something I did want to talk about. So I actually do tutorials, is what I call them. And I actually do them even internationally. I've done two tutorials overseas already. And I'm set to do a couple of more here in the local Northern Virginia area in April. But yeah, if you want to reach out to me for a tutorial for you and a group of friends for a special occasion or event, I'd love to do that because, again, I love talking about tea, but specifically the health benefits of tea. And I want everyone to taste all the different kinds of tea. There's more than just black and green tea. And so definitely reach out to me if you want a tutorial. But when it comes to business, I can't say it enough. Just start. I know you have massive grand ideas, as do I for my tea business. I want ready to drink line, right? So that's your iced tea, if you will. But that's a bottling and all this other stuff. So I see it down the line, but I'm not going to wait until I get $250,000 to launch my tea company so that I can get into iced tea as well. Nope. I started online. That's where I could start, which is the world's biggest store, by the way. And we go along and hoping to get our teas into retail spaces, then hoping to work with a bottler later on. But not everything has to be done at once. Start where you are.
I love it. I love it. And so, how can the fans get a hold of you? I say the fans, the listeners. I'm a
They
fan.
fans, they fans.
Yeah,
Yeah, when I say
yeah.
fans, I mean me for sure. How can how can they get a hold of you?
No, definitely
NFT.
go to the company website. So www.ingenuityandspice, all one word, ingenuityandspice.com. And that's ingenuity ending with a TEA. So ingenuityandspice.com.
I love it. I love it. And Donnell, how can folks continue to support Veterans Growing America?
Hey, so as you see the quality of individuals that are a part of our community, I need y'all to do two things. Number one, go to our website and follow us. Go on social media and follow all of our platforms. We need you to like, comment, and share. Also, if you're an entrepreneur, we're about to launch something new. Our directory is coming out, and that way you'll be able to get in touch with our vendors internationally and be able to shop, baby.
Shop,
Happen.
baby. I love it. Ms. Watson, thank you again so much for sharing all of that knowledge. We truly appreciate it.
Absolutely. And we're friends now. So it's always Michelle.
Indeed, indeed. We are over and out.